Okay, so how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's well. Thank you very much for tuning in for our shir on Pirkei Avos, and I am excited for us to learn. This is going to be a little of a complicated Mishnah. It doesn't seem so complicated at first, but when you look at the different sources and you look at the different commentators on it, you find something very, very difficult. It's going to be a little easier if you follow along the source sheets. Again, if your Hebrew isn't so strong or you have difficulty accessing the source sheets, so it's not the most important thing. So I wouldn't worry about it too much, but it would be a little easier if you were looking at the source sheets. Okay, so let's see what we have. If you look at the language of the Mishnah, if you look at the wording of the Mishnah, this is Perek Aleph, Mishnah Gimel. Okay, Perek Aleph, Mishnah Gimel. And the Mishnah says as follows. It says, Antigonus ish socho. So this is one of the Baal Masorah, and the Tana of this Mishnah, his name was Antigonus, and he was from a place called Socho. Kibo ben Shimon HaTzadik. So he was a student of Shimon HaTzadik, and he received his Torah knowledge from Shimon HaTzadik, who we had been discussing in the last Mishnah, the last two shiurim. And he said, or three shiurim, I should say. He says as follows. This is something that he would say frequently. Don't be like a servant who serves his master on the condition of, or for the desire, the motivation of getting a reward. Okay, that's the simple explanation of the Mishnah. That's what the Mishnah is saying, that we have to make sure that we're not serving God, right? That's obviously who we're talking about. Well, we don't serve God, we don't do the mitzvot, we don't pray, we don't study Torah, we don't act nicely to other people with the motivation of what's going to be coming to me afterwards. We're not talking about what somebody will pay me afterwards, right? I go out and shovel snow for my neighbor. So it's not that I go out and shovel snow for my neighbor and I say, what am I going to get out of it, right? It's the question really is, what am I? What's God going to do for me? What's my reward? Right? That's the idea. And if you look, so our first source is from the Rambam's commentary on the Mishnayot, and he says as follows. He says pras, the word pras, which in our Mishnah is what we're using for the word reward. What is that? It's something that a person receives, even though he's not, he doesn't deserve it according to the law, right? So he says, if somebody does something out of the goodness of his heart, out of the goodness of his good nature, it's as if somebody says to his servant or his child, if you do this for me, I'll give you a dollar, right? So somebody says that to their child. So it's not that their child then deserves the dollar, right? Because the father has every right to ask his child to do something without giving him the dollar, right? So that's what a pras is. And this is the difference between two concepts. And we're going to use the two concepts. We use a Hebrew word to represent both concepts. The Hebrew word is pras. That's what we're talking about in our Mishnah. Where you get something, but it's not what's required. It's something you deserve it, right? And the other difference is schar, right? And schar is something else. Schar is what you're obligated to get, what you deserve to get. If I go work in a job, so that's not a pras. I work in a job, my salary is schar. So here, no one would ever think in their minds that if I put on tefillin in the morning, or I pray in the morning, or I light Shabbat candles Friday night, that God then owes me a salary. God, look, I did what you said, and now you owe me, right? No one has that's a ridiculous point of view. No one has that in mind. But what a person could have in mind is, listen, I'm worried about my place in the world to come. I'm worried about whether or not I'm going to have a job in this world. So I'll do an act of chesed. I'll do some sort of good thing in this world, right? I'll do a mitzvah. I'll follow what God wants, and then God will take care of me. That's pras, and that Antigonus says should not be your motivation for serving God. That should not be your motivation for doing the right thing. Okay? That's the idea. Now, if you look at the source sheets, and again, if you don't have the source sheets, that's okay. The source sheets can be found in the comments section below. So if you have a source sheet, that's great. If you don't, again, no big deal. But there are two variants of text that we have for this Mishnah. And the two variants are very, very different and change the meaning of the Mishnah greatly. And for years, people had that one variant, and our Rishonim, our scholars of the 10th through 13th century, looked at this variant text and said, this cannot be how the Mishnah was originally written. It doesn't make any sense. And in fact, the mistaken understanding of the Mishnah and the way that it was written poorly was not that the Mishnah was written poorly, but the way it was copied poorly led to a great division among the Jewish people that we are still suffering from today because of a wrong version of the Mishnah. It's amazing. Listen to the two ways. Now you got to really pay attention. In fact, if this was students in my classroom, I would say you should take notes. But it says as follows. One version is, you shouldn't serve God in order to get a reward. Okay? Ela havuka avadim hameshamshin es harav shelo almanat l'kabel pras. Rather be servants that serve their master, not on condition that they receive a reward. Let me say that again. Not on condition that they receive a reward. That's one way of looking at the Mishnah. The second way of looking at the Mishnah is Elahavu kavadim hameshamshin es harav almanas shelo l'kabel pras. Rather be servants that serve their master on the condition that they not receive a reward. I'm not sure if you caught it, so let me say it one more time. It says, right, one way of looking at it is rather be servants that serve their master not on condition that they receive a reward. And the other way of saying it is rather be servants that serve their master on condition of not receiving a reward. Okay? So let's look at I hope everybody caught it. This is one of the challenges of giving a shiur without a live audience in front of you. You can't ask, hey, does everybody understand that point? Okay, so let's look at this Mishnah. It says here. Oh, sorry, the Mishnah ends off. Just we forgot the words. V'himora shemayim aleichem, and the fear of God should be on you. So let's look at the Mishnah one more time, and then we'll get to the commentary. The Mishnah says, Antigona shishlocho kibel meshimon atzadik hu haya omer al tihi kavodim hamisham shenesarav amanas lekabel pras. Right. So Antigona shishlocho received the tradition from Shimon HaTzadik, and he said, don't be like servants, meaning when you are serving God, don't be like servants, okay? You should not be like servants that serve their master on condition that they get a reward. Rather, what should you do? And here's where it gets confusing. Rather, what you should do. So our first version is, rather, you should be servants that serve their master, not on the condition that they receive a reward. Okay, so I'm serving God. I'm not serving God on a condition that I receive a reward. And that's not what I'm serving. Okay, the second version is rather be servants that serve their master on condition of not receiving a reward. Okay, so now we go ahead and move forward. Okay, so it says as follows. Right? It says, and then you should have the fear of God on you. Okay, great. So now let's move forward. What do the words almanas mean? On condition. So when one makes a condition, okay, the condition they attach reflects either their motivation for doing the action or the conditions they find necessary to do it. Okay, Antigonus felt the condition of reward reflects motivation. Okay, So that's how he saw it. He saw that it reflects the motivation. Okay. So and if we use that definition of almanas, that it reflects one's motivation, so then version number 2, okay, which said that you should be like servants that serve their master on condition of not receiving a reward. Okay, so it's saying that one should serve their master on condition that they receive no reward. In other words, I'm only going to serve you, God, on the condition that you do not reward me. If you insist on rewarding me, I'd rather not have done the mitzvot. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to serve you, God, but only on the condition that you refuse to, you won't reward me. That's what I'm saying. Okay? So that's very ambiguous. What could that possibly mean? I'm not going to, now, again, we're saying that one's motivation, that Antigonus is saying that one's motivation is that they shouldn't be motivated by wanting a reward. Okay, that makes sense. But it doesn't say there's anything wrong with the reward. So here, what we're coming along and saying is the Mishnah is saying that your motivation should be, right? What should your motivation be? That you go ahead and serve God on the condition that you receive no reward. That's the second version of the Mishnah. I don't want a reward. That's very ambiguous. And that ambiguity led to this horrible episode in Jewish history 10 generations after this Mishnah was written. What are we referring to? The Hayu Azel Chacham Shnei Talmidim. So Antigonus had 2 students. Shema Echad Tzaduk, Shema Acher Baitus. So he had 2 students. One was Tzaduk, and one was Baitus. So when these 2 students, who were his 2 main students, when they heard this teaching that one should serve God on condition that they receive no reward, Yotzu Milfanav, they left the base medrash. They said, forget it, we're out of here. Right? It says, Vamar Echad Mehem Lasheni. One of the Tzaduk said to Baitus, he said to him, he says, Hine harav kvar be'er beferish ein sham schar v'lo onesh. He just told us there's no such thing as reward and there's no such thing as punishment. Vein shum tikva klal. There's no hope. We're just going to die. There's no hope. There's no reward. There's no punishment. And ki lo evinu kavanas olav hashem, because they didn't understand Antigonus. Antigonus' words seems to be very ambiguous. And if the words are ambiguous, the Talmidim didn't understand. And what their impression was, not that Antigonus was trying to get them to strive to serve God for the right motivations, but rather Antigonus was teaching them, hey, look, there's no reward, and there's no punishment if you don't do the Torah. So they looked at it and said, wait, there's no reward, no punishment. So what's the difference if we do the mitzvahs or not? Right? So he says, so they sort of like pushed each other. No reward, no punishment, right? So forget it, and they left Torah. They threw the yoke of the Torah out. They said, "No, we're not following the Torah anymore. No more Torah." And then they not only did they say we're not going to follow the Torah, but then they started. And these were leaders. These were two of the top students of Antigonus. So what do? They created followers to do this. And these followers became the Tzedukim and the Baitusim. The Baitusim didn't become so popular. Tzedukim caused problems for Jews for hundreds of years. Right? Tzedukim were the ones that took the Torah somewhat literally, right? When the words of the Torah literally, and that caused them many, many problems. Right? So that's a big problem, because they would argue with the Chachamim and say the Chachamim didn't understand the halacha, they didn't know what they were doing, and they caused many Jews to sin. They said that the Chacham didn't know how to read the Torah, and therefore don't follow the Chacham. It doesn't make any sense to follow the Chacham. So that was a big problem. And that's why 10 generations later, when these movements are really starting, so I've told you over there, this is Mishnah Yiralf, we'll get to this in 10 Mishnah, so it says, Hisaru b'divreichem, Chachamim, Hisaru b'divreichem. So he says, Chachamim, you should be very careful with your words. Shema, tachovu, chovos golos, v'galo makom mayim roim, v'yishtu ha-talmidim habayim achareichem, v'yemusu, nimsa shem shemayim eschal. Says what could happen is, is that you're going to teach something. You're not going to be careful with your words. You're going to teach something. The Talmidim are going to misunderstand. They're going to drink poisonous waters, and God's name will be desecrated because you weren't careful with what you taught. Right? And this is what Rav Andrew Bar Tanura explains. Listen to what he says. They're going to find people they have crazy ideas. Exactly as I said, that people are going to listen to you. You're not careful with your teachings. They're going to draw the wrong conclusions, and they're going to say, I don't want any part of this Torah. So inside the Gobaitus Talmidav, Sha'amar Lahem, Al Tiyu Kavadim Misham Shesarav Amanasa Kala Pras. Right? So he said to them, don't serve God in order that they get a reward. And they said, have you ever found a worker that agrees to go to work his whole life and then there's no reward at the end of the day? Have you ever seen anybody that does that? So he says, and they went out and they became heretics. They gave up on the Torah. And they till this day they're called Sadukim and Baitusim. Right, till this day, till the day of the Bartanura, right? So that's a big problem. Okay, so that's an issue. That's a big problem that we have. Okay, I want to run a little experiment. If you're watching the shiur now, can you hit the like button? Curious to see if how many people we have watching. Okay, so that's the Bartanura. That explains this, and that's how I understand that Antigonus, really his words were so ambiguous that there was a big problem. Okay, so let's get going forward. Okay, the Rabbeinu Yonah explains as follows. Look at Rabbeinu Yonah. Rabbeinu Yonah says, "Alahavu kavodim ha-mishamshin es harav manasa shlo l'kavapras." Okay, so Rabbeinu Yonah explains, Ki ein la'adam lasos hamitzvos ladas shelo yelo pras alehem. Right? So he says, look, if you read the text of the Mishnah, okay, and you read it the wrong way, so what's going to come out of this Mishnah is that a person's going to say that no one's going to do a mitzvah and not get in order that they don't get a reward. That doesn't make any sense. So the Rabbeinu Yonah notices that according to the way that the Mishnah is written, you have a problem because that it doesn't make any sense the way the Mishnah is written, because then it seems to say you should serve God on condition you don't get a reward. That doesn't make any sense. Rather, it should be that the obvious way of understanding this is that you should do the mitzvahs, but not with the motivation that you get a reward. Even though there is a reward, that's not what you should be thinking about. He shouldn't be thinking, he shouldn't look at the mitzvahs as a salary, sort of. You shouldn't look at it as, I'm now going to get something because I did something, so now I get something. So you shouldn't look at the Mishnah, at serving God this way. About nearly, ki girsas asvara mi'ikr, shavoda kazu, matzinu b'bnei adam, ki even miknas kaspa, chayev hu lavod avoda, b'shloshi yitin pras. Rather, we have to look at it like this, that the Mishnah is assuming that, and the Mishnah's analogy of us as not as salaried workers, but rather we're like servants or a slave, right? A slave doesn't get a salary. A slave is expected to do the work. That's how we should look at ourselves. Not only that, we can look at ourselves as slaves, or we can look at ourselves and say, listen, God has done so much for me. I'm so blessed in my life. So therefore, I should serve God out of a karsatol, out of gratitude. So he says, and you should serve God out of love, meaning I'm so appreciative of God. Right? So that this is how the greatest like service of God is done. Right? So also even if there's a possibility I won't get a reward, that's not my motivation. Now, I'm going to get a reward. I believe that there's a reward for doing mitzvahs, and I believe there's a punishment if I don't do mitzvahs. But my goal here, my job, my motivation is because out of love of God, not because I want to get something. And that's why it ends off. You should also have the awe of God. Right? So it's just like a servant. He serves his master because of the greatness of the master, right? And that's why he serves his master, and that's why that's the same way, the same motivation we should have. But he also recognizes we could get punished. That's also right. So that's the idea. Okay. So we look at this and we look at Rabbi Yonah and we realize that version number 2 can't be correct. It can't be that you're serving God on the condition that you get no reward. That doesn't make any sense. And that's why there was a big problem, right? So rather what you want to have is the girsa that a person should serve God, right? Because they want to do they want to do the right thing. They feel that they should do the right thing. And that's why they serve God. But that's their motivation to serve God for that reason. But there could be a reward. That's not the worst thing. But never that a person serves God and says that my condition for serving God is that I don't get a reward. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, so let's look at 2 more sources here. We'll look at the Ramban on the Torah. This is from his Parish and Bereshis, right? The Ramban says Ki yitzer adam ra minurav. Now the person is born with an evil nature from his youth. So he says Malam elayim schus. So God was he's giving them the benefit of the doubt. But like stretching it, She had sirasam betold us rabbi mehanurim v'lo zikna. Right? It's not that when a person is like does something wrong when they're older. It's not because they made a decision to do something wrong when they're older. Rather, they did something wrong when they're older because they were corrupted when they were younger. Right? So it's not that it's somewhat not their fault. ואם כן, אין לה הקוס, אז כל חי מפני שני טעמים אלה. טעם כי מתחילת הנוראים הוא מהם, כמו שאמרו, משנער לסייס ממי אימו, נשא בו יצר הרע. Right? That's the idea that when a child exits his mother, so already he gets his yetzer hara. ואז יאמר כי מן הנוראים, מהחמאסם ירס היצר באדם, שהם יחטיאו אותו. Right? So a person has a yetzer hara, a person has a desire. What's a yetzer hara? So, it's not. We don't believe in the image of a devil on one side and an angel on the other. That's not the idea. Rather, the idea is that we have instincts, natural instincts, and those draw us away from what we know to be intellectually correct. Okay, so Yada Shorkanel v'Chamar Avos Balav Yisrael Yada Amilo Esponein. The Radak on this pasuk in Yeshayahu says. זכר הבהמות שהן גדלות עם האדם אהב עודו, ואף על פי שאינם בני דעת, בכוח הקרוב שיש בהם לרחק מן הנזק ולקרב אל התלאות, יקרו מי שהייתי להם תמיד, והם בעלים ושלום ולתם, ובמקום מלאכתם ושלום מלאכתם. So says the Radak, and this is a fascinating thing. He says that an ox always knows its master, right? Why does it know its master, right? The ox doesn't, right? So the ox knows that the master is the one with the food. Right, so and it knows that it's the one that always does well for him. I remember outside my house here. So there were once I have this massive area behind my house, really huge, with mountains, and there was once a flock of sheep that were on the mountains. That's not so odd here because we have Bedouins here and we have Jewish shepherds. So sheep, where you live, it might not be so common to find sheep in your backyard, but where I live. There's flocks of sheep, but usually there's a shepherd. So I'm looking at the sheep, and there's no shepherd. I'm stunned. And the sheep, how did they get there? Right? There's no shepherd. So there's no such thing as wild sheep. So, and then at a certain point, all of a sudden, on cue, all the sheep start leaving. No shepherd. So I did a little investigating, and I found the shepherd. And I said to him, I said, these sheep were in my backyard. And they got there on their own, and then all of a sudden they turned. What brought them home? He said, "We have the water. The water's at home. The sheep know where the water is. They know where the good stuff is. They know where to go, so they know how to get back. They know on their own. Okay, at this point it's getting a little dark. We got to go back to where the water is. So they know that on their own. So that's the same thing that our doc is talking about here. Even an animal recognizes that. So how much more so should a person recognize what they have from God and offer that gratitude to God? Okay, we'll stop here. This is a great share, great Mishnah. Well, I'm not sure if we're going to go on to the next Mishnah tomorrow, but we'll see. Truth is, I'm not sure. This doesn't seem like the most popular shir, to be honest. So I'm not sure if we're going to continue it. If you're watching and you say you want me to continue it, so leave that in a comment because I'm not so sure anybody's really watching. Okay, shalom.